Horsemen's Association presents Matinee Madness. Matinee Madness is presented by the Ohio State University Veterinary Medical Center, El Dorado Scioto Downs, and Winterwood Farm. Hi everyone, and thanks for joining us for the first episode of the 2025 Matinee Madness. I'm Ashley Daly. Today we're kicking off the season debut in Mercer County in Celina, Ohio. We're going to bring you 12 races. 45 horses have been entered, but I will say only about 18 are Ohio breds, and that's just because of where we're at today. We're basically on the Indiana border. So with that, let's go ahead and head into a commercial break, and I'll see you back here real soon.
Racing is back at El Dorado Scioto Downs. Catch the excitement all summer long. Live racing every Tuesday through Saturday nights. First race post time is 5:45. Mark your calendar to see the future stars with a $150,000 Next Generation on July 5th. Thrilling harness racing at El Dorado Scioto Downs. Horse players can earn points with the Caesars Reward Program. El Dorado Scioto Downs. Live racing is back.
At Ohio State's Galbraith Equine Center, our veterinary champions are here for your champions 24/7, 365 days a year. Our expert team of boarded surgeons, sports medicine and rehabilitation specialists, together with veterinary cardiologists, internal medicine, and ophthalmologists, make our hospital your best resource for all sport horse performance issues. The Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center's Galbraith Equine Hospital. Call us today at 614-292-6661.
The Ohio equine industry needs your help. I'm Scott Mogan, president of the Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association. With over 300,000 horses in Ohio, the economic impact of the equine industry in the state is over $2.8 billion. That means jobs that pump millions of dollars into the local economy and support thousands of families. For Ohio's equine industry to remain strong, we need to send a clear message to our legislators about the important role that the agricultural small businesses play in Ohio's economy. To do that, we need your help. PACER, the Political Action Committee for Equine Racing, helps support and inform on issues that could positively affect Ohio harness racing. Please consider a donation to PACER. To donate, visit our website at ohha.com or call 614-221-3650. Your donation will help keep harness racing strong in Ohio. Thank you for your support.
Welcome back to Matinee Madness. We're getting ready to start our first race, but first, let's go ahead and talk to Rusty Vorhees. Joining me, I have Rusty Vorhees, the president of the local Horsemen's Association here, and of course, an OHHA board member. Rusty, you've got your hands on this matinee quite a bit. Why don't you tell us what's it all for today?
Well, it's to get these young colts out here and get them used to the gate and people and everything, because the fair season cranks up here in another month at Paulding, or a little over a month maybe, but we've just got to get, just like spring training for the baseball players, we just got to get the colts out and get them used to different things they haven't seen.
Now, you said this isn't too hard for you to put together, but I think there's probably a lot of little details that go into all of this.
Yeah, basically calling me the president of the organization is kind of a stretch, because I'm far from any kind of a leader. The only thing I do is make phone calls, make sure there's, everything's contacted, sound man, ambulance, race announcer, those sort of things. But it's a team effort, all the other people and the ladies especially. If we didn't have the ladies, we'd be screwed, basically.
So tell me, I think I've seen a lot of the ladies actually in the kitchen this morning. So what's that about?
Well, that stuff is, they come in and donate their time, and there's every kind of pie under the sun, and apple dumplings this year. They got an apple dumpling feature, and sandwiches, hot dogs. I know Matt's very used to the food. In fact, he texted me, said he was going to come early today to enjoy some of it, and we appreciate that.
And I'm trying to talk Matt into giving us a food report today because, of course, Frank is out for this afternoon. But when it comes to the whole fairgrounds, Rusty, last year you introduced us to Nelson. Mm-hmm. We have a new building, a new event center, and we're still expanding this program. I mean, outside of even just the horse racing, there's a lot of pride in the agricultural community around here.
Yeah, you're right. This is the leading agriculture producer in the state of Ohio, this county, Mercer County, as far as total receipts. And they're putting in out here in the West Field they've got the market hall there, which is set up now for weddings and that sort of thing. They can get like 750 people in, and it's first class over there. But on to the west of that, there's going to be a big building that's, I don't know what the name of that is, but it's going to be huge for events, like anything from horse shows to bull riding to tractor pulls and things. It's under one roof, similar to the one in Springfield. And that's going to start, they've got they're going to do it in stages. They don't have the money yet for it, the total money, and they're very good about that here. They don't overextend themselves. They're a very good fair board, and that starts this fall.
To say the least, and that's what, just walking around, how pretty your barns are. Your racehorse barns, even, and all the pride that you guys, is very obvious that you take in what you do here. And Rusty, you've got such a nice, clean space. What's the secret?
I've got time now. That's basically it. But I always have people call me a neat freak, but I've got one horse. I'm retired. I come in the mornings and take care of him, and while he's cooling out, I can wash things up and I just take care of stuff, because it comes hard. Everybody, race bikes $5,000 and the jog cart's $2,500. I just take care of it, just basically. But like I said, I've got one horse, and that's all I want. I don't want to work. I just want to piddle.
Well, thanks, Rusty. We appreciate you. Let's go ahead and look at the field for the first race. Heading into our first race, it is a 2:10, 2:15 pace time bar. We have a field of 3, only one Ohio bred. Leaving from the rail is Rockin' Pippa. This is a 2-year-old colt sired by Well Said out of Sister Pippa. This is owned by Mick Foster of Lucky, Ohio, going to be trained and driven by Ty Bates. Now, this mare in particular, every single foal that she has ever had has made it to the track and made money on the track. And Rockin' Pippa today is actually a half sister to one that we may remember, Rockin' Pippa, who's made $185,000 in its racing career with a mark in 151-3. Our 2 horses, I'm from Some Beach, is a 2-year-old colt, Indiana bred, driven by Clint Coy. And our 3 horse, Vale Mr. King, will be driven by Doug Rideout and is also an Indiana bred. Let's catch up with the action.
As they turn for home, that's Rockin' Pippa at the rail. Here comes Val, Mr. King on the outside, and 3 wide is I'm from Some Beach. But past the stands, it's gonna be Rockin' Pippa, and here the outcome.
Race 1, starting off on a great foot. It was Rockin' Pippa, our only Ohio bred, that took it in 2:12. Remember, that was a 2:10, 2:15 time bar. From the top down, we did go Rockin' Pippa. The winner, I'm from Some Beach, was second, and Vale Mr. King was third. The fractions went in 36-2, 110 2/5, 142-1, and that final mile time in 2:12. Let's go ahead and take a look at race 2. Race 2 is a 2:10 bar trot. From the 1 hole, we have Bunsen, owned by Julie and Kelly Meyer. David Meyer will drive. This is a 2-year-old colt by Team 6 out of Desired Outcome. Was actually a $3,500 purchase from the Blooded Horse Sale. Our 2 horse is another Ohio bred. What Say You? This is a 2-year-old gelding sired by Long Tom out of Cometpedia, owned by Joel Shavak and Susan Bates, trained and driven by Ty Bates. This was I believe a $14,000 purchase from the Ohio Selected Sale.
That's Bunsen at the rail, and here comes What Say You up on the outside to pour on the pressure. As they turn for home, that's Bunsen at the rail. What Say You on the outside? Bunsen and What Say You as they race through the lane. Bunsen at the rail. What Say You on the outside? Bunsen and What Say You? It's going to be Bunsen wire to wire, and here the outcome.
Our 2-year-old colts give us quite an impressive mile. Our trotters there, the time bar was 2:10. Bunsen ends up taking it in 2:07-1. Pulled away kind of out of the half. However, our 2 horse, What Say You, made up a lot of ground himself. Got just a little steppy, but regardless, very impressive from our 2-year-old trotters. Fractions went in 33-2, 106-3. 137-3, and again that final time in 2:07-1. Meet us right back here after a quick break. Since 1974, Winterwood Farm has been producing top-of-the-line standardbred racehorses. Captain Kirk, Mission Accepted, and Stockade Sealster continue that tradition. Captain Kirk is the son of Captain Treacherous and took a career mark of 147-4 as a 4-year-old. Mission Accepted, the two-time Ohio Age Trotter of the Year, has career earnings of over $1.4 million. Stockade Sealster, the 2022 Dan Patch 2-year-old Pacing Colt of the Year, Winterwood Farm, breeding champions for over 50 years.
With more than 300,000 horses in Ohio, the economic impact of the equine industry in the state is over $2.8 billion. Much of that value comes from standardbred horse owners, breeders, trainers, and drivers who participate in the sport of harness racing. The mission of the Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association is to preserve, protect, promote, and serve the entire standardbred industry in Ohio and beyond. To learn more about the Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association, go to ohha.com. That's ohha.com.
I've tracked down Mike Woebkenberg before we get started here this afternoon. Mike, there's a lot on your docket this year. Why don't you tell us about it?
Well, yeah, there really is. We just concluded Miami Valley. We now are going to do like 62 fairs in the state of Ohio, and we're going to do all 23 of the Indiana fairs. So we're going to be on the road a lot. From what we did last year, and it's a little more this year, we started right at 5,000 races a year last year, and that's a lot of races. We did 1,900 fair races and started 11,000 horses. That's a lot of horses.
Do you take or keep a running tally like Roger Houston does? I think you should.
I know, and I didn't start doing that till 2 years ago. Cameron Van Roden has ridden with us since he's an itty-bitty little kid. And he decided that he wanted to total it, so he's my statistician. Look, in my world, I believe every start is important. Whether I'm starting here at a matinee going for no money, or we're starting a Little Brown Jug, or the Sire Stakes. It's so important to the people who are behind my gate. And that's why I spend all the money I do on equipment. We've got the nicest equipment at any fair in the world, and but I represent these fairs to the public, and we as an industry have got to explain to the public we are a world-class operation, and you should come see us because that's what we are.
Say, of course, we see you just about everywhere when it comes to the state of Ohio and our fair season. But can you tell us the difference about you in the truck today and you getting these horses started versus our fair season and today? What's the difference?
Okay, what I believe is so important about today, but also so enjoyable. I want those colts to have a good experience because that can affect them the rest of their career. So I work very, very hard to give them all a very competitive, equal start because a lot of them are scared to death. Some of them have never seen anything. They've never been away from home before. But also, this is the advantage of coming to a matinee. We don't know the quality of these horses. We could have a world champion out there today. We don't know that.
I say there's been quite a few here in history that have gone on.
But this is what I think is so exciting about matinees is that you see these colts in their absolute infancy. They're just a raw piece of clay. And now we're molding them into a racehorse. And some of them are going to be just racehorses. But that future world champion might be out there. And looking at him today, you probably can't tell it. But, he might win the jug in 2 years.
That is so right. So, with that, let's go ahead and take a look at the next race's field. Our third race has been scratched down to a field of 3, just one Ohio bred. Yet again, this is a 2:10 to 2:15 pace time bar. From the rail, we have Vale You Tell Me, driven by Clint Coy. That is an Indiana bred, sired by Tell It Like It Is. Our 2-horse is Vale Let's Be Fair by Keystone Velocity, another Indiana bred driven by Doug Rideout. And our only Ohio bred is going to be our 3-horse, Wanna Know What Love Is. This is a 2-year-old filly sired by Well Said out of Bochanuba. This is a first foal for this mare, so we're not sure what to expect, but she was an $8,500 purchase from the Blooded Horse Sale, owned by Susan Bates, and will be driven and trained by Ty Bates.
As they race around that upper turn to head for pay dirt. And it's still Wanna Know What Love Is with the lead. Charging up on the outside second is Val, You Tell Me, and looking for racing home between horses comes Val, Let's Be Fair. As they race toward home, that's Wanna Know What Love Is with the lead. Closing fast on the outside is Val, Let's Be Fair. That's Wanna Know What Love Is and Val, Let's Be Fair. It's gonna be Wanna Know What Love Is, and here's the outcome.
Our Ohio bred comes out on top once again. Wanna Know What Love Is, the 2-year-old filly pacer, goes in 2-11-3. Say from the top down, we did go Wanna Know What Love Is, our winner. Our 2-horse, Val, Let's Be Fair, and finishing third was Val, You Tell Me. Our fractions went in 35-2, 109-1. and 3/4 and 141-2. Everybody looked pretty solid in that race. We had a little bit of a misstep in our last final turn there, but regardless, our freshmen are really impressing us here today. Going into our 4th race, this is once again a 2:10 to 2:15 pace time bar. We have an Ohio bred on the rail, driven and trained by Ty Bates, owned by Susan Bates and Cedar Point Beach Racing. It is the Ebony Dragon. This is a 2-year-old colt sired by Fear the Dragon out of Glorious Virgin. This actually was sold under the name He's Glorious, but he was a $12,000 purchase from the Buckeye sale, and he's a full sibling to Kylie Cash, who we saw just last year as a 2-year-old make over $57,000 with a mark in 157-1 now as a 3-year-old. Our 2-horse is Val, Get This Straight, as an Indiana bred driven by Clint Coy. Our 3-horse, My Sweet Becky, will be driven by Mervyn Schwartz. This is another out-of-state bred. And our 4-horse is Val, You Can Do It, Nova, driven by Doug Rideout, another Indiana bred.
As they race around that upper turn to head for pay dirt. That's the Ebony Dragon along the rail with the lead. On the outside, pouring on the pressure is Val, Get This Straight. Racing third, Val, You Can Do It, Nova. Off stride, 4th goes My Sweet Becky. As they race through the lane, that's the Ebony Dragon and Val, Get This Straight. The Ebony Dragon and Val, Get This Straight. It's going to be the Ebony Dragon tight there with Val, Get This Straight.
Those 2-year-olds really shaped up to give us a race for race 4, that 2:10 to 2:15 time bar. It was the Ebony Dragon, our only Ohio bred, once again took it in the time of 2:10 4/5. Second place, we did have Val, Get This Straight. Third place was Val, You Can Do It, Nova. And 4th place, My Sweet Becky. Those fractions went in 34-1, 108-1, 141-3. And again, that final time, 2:10-4. So join us back here after a quick break, and we'll introduce you to the next field.
At Ohio State's Galbraith Equine Center, our veterinary champions are here for your champions 24/7, 365 days a year. Our expert team of boarded surgeons, sports medicine and rehabilitation specialists, together with veterinary cardiologists, internal medicine, and ophthalmologists, make our hospital your best resource for all sport horse performance issues. The Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center's Galbraith Equine Hospital. Call us today at 614-292-6661.
Racing is back at El Dorado Scioto Downs. Catch the excitement all summer long. Live racing every Tuesday through Saturday nights. First race post time is 5:45. Mark your calendar to see the future stars with a $150,000 Next Generation on July 5th. Thrilling harness racing at El Dorado Scioto Downs. Horse players can earn points with the Caesars Reward Program. El Dorado Scioto Downs. Live racing is back.
Welcome back to Mercer County. We're here for Matinee Madness. Race 5 was all Indiana breds. It did go in 2:07 for that 2:10 to 2:15 pace time bar. However, we're going to head in next into race 6. It is a 2:15 to 2:20 trot. It's a field of 3 with a couple of Ohio breds on the rail. We have Presumptuous by Don't Tell 'Em, so this is an Indiana bred, driven by Mervyn Schwartz. Our 2-horse is Topville Lady, sired by What the Hill. This is a 2-year-old gelding, owned by Jeremy Yoder of Indiana, but driven by Mervyn Schwartz. This gelding is out of Overpowering Lindy. There was a $7,500 purchase from the Ohio Select sale. And I will say this colt does have one sibling that's made almost $100,000 and does have a mark in 150 and 4. Our 3-horse is Enter's Place. This is owned by Susan Bates, trained and driven by Ty Bates. It's a 2-year-old gelding by Enterprise out of Overapp My Place. $3,500 purchase from the Blooded Horse sale. This mare did not race, and this is her first foal.
That's Top Bell Lady with a lead, but here comes Enter's Place up on the outside. Second and further back third is Presumptuous. As they race toward home, that's Top Bell Lady at the rail. Enter's Place on the outside. Top Bell Lady and Enter's Place. Top Bell Lady and Enter's Place. It's going to be Top Bell Lady, wire to wire, and here they all come. Up for second is Enter's Place. Up for third is Presumptuous.
Top Bill Lady takes race 6, mile time 2:18 and 2. In second place, we had Enter's Place, and rounding out the field of 3 was Presumptuous. Have to give it to Enter's Place, though. Presumptuous did make a break, I believe, in that second turn, and he minded his manners all the way through. Our fractions went in 37 and 2, half and 113 and 4, 3/4 and 147 and 4. Final mile time once again was 2:18 and 2. That was a 2:15 to 2:20 trot. We have been right on our time bars here this afternoon. Before I introduce you into race 7, I actually got to catch up with one of my favorite people. So let's head over to Doug Ballinger. Beside me, I have Doug Ballinger, the one and only. Doug, we see you all over the state of Ohio, but this is your home place, isn't it?
Yeah, this is home. This is home. As I told our fair director, last week we had a big derby party here at Market Hall. I said I was probably to 28 fairs last year with the OHHA, or else calling the races. Every fair is unique, but there's no fairgrounds probably as neat as Celina and what this fair board now brings into this fair and all the community. That Market Hall out there is something. They put on one heck of a derby party. Probably 275 people there.
Wow. I want to say we got to talk to Rusty a little bit ago, and just the community involvement behind all of the agriculture here. It's quite remarkable.
Yeah, they do a good job. The farmers, especially, and different businesses contribute to make this a great fairground.
But this is a little bit different for you. We're just hanging out and seeing the horses today.
Yeah, things that get heated up here pretty quick.
to say the least. And all of your time here at the Mercer County Fairgrounds, though, you've seen a lot of good horses come through. Oh yeah, a lot of good horses. Sugar Instead 2 years ago made her career start here. She's made probably $700,000. A little bit of money. a little bit of money and a little fast. We'll say that. Tony Morgan got his first driving win here. He's in the Ohio Hall of Fame now, behind a horse called Peachacona. And then Rambling Willie, the year I was a senior in high school, I announced his very first race here in 1972. He went on to be a Hall of Famer and make $2.6 million. So it is amazing what happens at these matinees. It's just a stepping stone. Exactly, and that's what we always hope to see, a champion. But truly, this is a learning experience for a lot of these colts that we've seen so far today. But that doesn't mean they're not going to figure it out a little bit later on, too. You know, I think there's 5 matinees: Celina, Greenville, Urbana, Bucyrus is having one, and Washington Courthouse. And years ago, back in the late 70s and 80s, there was probably a dozen matinees. I'd go to Troy, I'd go to Sydney. Actually, Urbana. This is way before your time. Harry Alltop, he was ahead of it, and they would race on a Saturday evening, maybe start at 4, and then they'd have a big dance and a big hog roast or something, and then they'd come back and race on a Sunday. How things change. And something actually heading into fair season, Doug, that we're going to talk about this year on our broadcast is tourism in each county. So, with you being local to Celina, what makes this place special? The town itself, well, the lake probably. The lake, it's really getting built up along the lake. Bruns Development, they're a big construction company. Their father started probably back in the 50s and 60s from over by St. Henry, Ohio. I believe there's 4 brothers and
one girl in a family, and they're down your way. You see a lot of Bruns. That's the Bruns that way where you live toward the Troy Tip City area. But they did so much on the lake out here. They've got all kind of. Actually, my wife and I took a ride last night along Lake West Bank Road, we call it. They probably got 50 to 60 little cottages built in the Florida colors, the wild colors, and they actually have palm trees. There's probably half a dozen palm trees, and they wrap these palm trees all winter. And actually, they were swimming in the swimming pool yesterday evening when we drove by.
How cool. So I guess that's something. We do race here at Mercer County, August, I believe, 10th and 11th. Our post time on those days, I know it's here some way.
Probably 12:30 and 6, 12:30 on the Sunday and 6 on the Monday evening.
I should have relayed you to you for that one, but no, that's exactly right. So I guess that's something if people are coming to watch the county fair, something to see.
Yes.
So there we go. Just a little bit about Doug Ballinger. We'll be hearing him all season long. Doug, I won't keep you too much longer. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Looking forward to working with you guys this summer again.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the next field. We have a field of 4. This is a 2:15 to 2:20 time bar trot. On the rail is an Indiana bred known as Odellis Farewell, driven by Doug Rideout. Our 2-horse, Mel Jack, is going to be driven and trained by Ty Bates, owned by Sean McGee. This is a 2-year-old filly sired by In Range out of Chambers Cove. This actually was sold under the name Range and Speed out of the Buckeye Classic sale. It was just a $5,000 purchase, and once again, this is the first full for this dam. Our 3-horse is Cash Through Rafe. This is a Muscle Through It 2-year-old filly by Arcadia Oz. This is a $4,500 purchase out of the Blooded Horse, and this mare actually made in her lifetime almost $150,000. Cash Through Rafe is owned by Julie and Kelly Miller and will be driven by Dave Miller. Rounding out the field, we have Passin' With a Sigh, another filly sired by Long Tom out of Jane Eyre. This is a full sibling to an $80,000 winner and was purchased out of the out of the Blooded Horse sale for $8,000. Erwin Swartz does own and will drive this filly.
3/4 and 139 2/5 as they race around that upper turn to head for pay dirt. That's still Passing With a Sigh with the lead. Closing in second with every stride, though, is O'Dial's Farewell, and also third and trotting fastest of all is Case Through Ralph. As they race through the lane, now bearing out a bit is Passing With a Sigh. Coming through at the rail is O'Dial's Farewell. It's O'Dial's Farewell and Passing With a Sigh. It's going to be O'Dial's Farewell, and here's the outcome.
Race 7 goes to the 1-horse, Odo's Farewell. That was the Indiana bred. Timed that mile in 2:10 3/5. So we did not quite make that time bar. Remember, it was a 2:15 to 2:20 trot. In second place, we did have the 4-horse, Passing With a Sigh. And third was Cash Through Rafe. And finishing fourth was Mel Jack. Our fractions went in 34 flat to the half and 127 1/3 and 139 2. And again, final mile time 2:10 3. Well, we are over halfway through our card here this afternoon. So join me after a brief message to look at our next field. Since 1974, Winterwood Farm has been producing top-of-the-line standardbred racehorses. Captain Kirk, Mission Accepted, and Stockade Sealster continue that tradition. Captain Kirk is the son of Captain Treacherous and took a career mark of 147-4 as a 4-year-old. Mission Accepted, the 2-time Ohio Age Trotter of the Year, has career earnings of over $1.4 million. Stockade Sealster, the 2022 Dan Patch 2-year-old Pacing Colt of the Year, Winterwood Farm, breeding champions for over 50 years.
Hi, I'm Dean Gillespie, and I want to tell you about the Ohio Colt Racing Association. There's 19 member fairs, and they sponsor the Partial Futurity in Greenville, Ohio. You need to race in the OCRA. Great racetracks, great people. Bring the kids and come out to the fair, and remember, fair time is fun time.
We're now going to head into race 8 here in Celina for the Mercer County Matinee. Our next one is going to be a 2:15 to 2:25 trot and pace. This is a full field of 5. Starting from the rail, we have City of Fear. This is a 2-year-old filly sired by Fear the Dragon out of City Delight. It was an $11,000 purchase from the Buckeye Classic sale, and this mare was pretty impressive herself. In her career, she made $160,000, and so far as a dam, 6 of 7 foals have made it to the track, with 5 of those earning over $110,000. One remarkable half sibling out of this mare is So Many Roads, a winner of almost $340,000, currently has a mark in 151-4. Again, that is City of Fear, owned by Claude Estel, trained and driven by Chad Williamson. Our 2-horse is an Indiana bred, always helpful, trained and owned by Ben Schwartz. Our 3-horse is Brookview Fern. This is a 3-year-old filly, Indiana bred, will be driven and trained by Irvin Schwartz. Our 4-horse is another Ohio bred, Peachalicious. This is a 2-year-old filly by What the Hill out of She's Just a Peach, owned by Susan Bates, trained and driven by Ty Bates. This is an $11,000 purchase out of the Buckeye Classic sale. This is the first foal for this mare who did not race, and rounding out the field of 5 is another Indiana bred, Bag Full of Surprises, will be driven by Doug Rideout.
As they race toward home, that's always helpful at the rail. Going off momentarily offside with Brookview Fern. That's always helpful in City of Fear. Always helpful in City of Fear. It's going to be always helpful. And here the outcome. City of Fear up for second. Up for third is going to be Peachalicious.
Always Helpful wins that matinee in 2:13-1. In second place, we had the Ohio bred City of Fear. In third place, the other Ohio bred Peachalicious. In fourth, we had Brookview Fern, that 3-year-old filly. And rounding out the field of 5 was Bag Full of Surprises. Our fractions went in a 33-2. To the half in 107-4, 3/4 in 141-3, and again, that final mile time was 2:13-1. We have a field of 4 headed into race 9, a 2:15 to 2:20 pace. On the rail is an Indiana bred, will be driven by Mervyn Schwartz, Jasper Diamond. Our 2-horse is Tyra's Tyrone, will be driven by Doug Rideout, another Indiana bred. And you guessed it, an Indiana bred will be leaving from the 3rd post position, TL Sweet Odds, driven by Clint Coy. Our only Ohio bred in this field will leave from the 4th post position, Dancing Excitedly, owned by Susan Bates, trained and driven by Ty Bates. This is a Dancing Yankee 2-year-old filly out of Exciting Ideal. This is a homebred, the first foal for this mare in 5 years, actually, and a half sibling to one we might remember, I'm Excited. Has made $192,000 in its career with a mark in 151-4.
3/4 is in 142 2/5. As they race around that upper turn to head for pay dirt. Along the rail, the lead is TL Sweet Odds. On the outside, second, Tyra's Tyrone. At the rail, third, Jasper Diamond. And fourth, and pacing fast as the ball at this point, is Dancing Excitedly. As they race toward home, that's TL Sweet Odds and Tyra's Tyrone. TL Sweet Odds and Tyra's Tyrone. It's going to be TL Sweet Odds, and here the outcome. Tyra's Tyrone up for second, up for third is Jasper Diamond.
TL Sweet Odds, an Indiana bred, does take race 9, mile time 2:12-1. The fractions went in 34-2, 109-3, and the 3/4 in 142-2. In second place, we did have Tyra's Tyrone, an Indiana bred. Our third place was an Indiana bred, Jasper's Diamond, and finishing fourth was our only Ohio bred of that race, Dancing Excitedly. I thought she was coming hard around that final turn, but I think just has a little bit further to go and a little bit more to learn. We're going to head now into an interview from yet another local staple here in Celina. A staple here in Celina and really throughout the entire Ohio County Fair racing circuit. Beside me, I have Bob Geist. Bob, you've been around for a long time. This is the 54th annual matinee we've held here at Celina.
That's right. I can still remember the first one. It was just something new and different that we tried, and it was successful, so we've just kept doing it from then till now.
I've been so impressed all afternoon. We say matinees are to teach these horses.
Right.
I haven't seen many mistakes. They're out here like real professionals, not shying away at water trucks or anything.
Yeah, I noticed the same thing. It's, usually you have a couple that kind of act up or shy away from, like you said, the water truck or whatever, but so far, knock on wood, it's been good.
How would you describe, your time in this industry and how we've seen our horses, especially our 2-year-old babies, how they have just grown in our breed over the last few decades?
The 2-year-olds, I've always said they just amaze me how they can learn what they can learn in such a short period of time. I mean, years ago, when you had a 2-year-old, you'd line drive them for a week, and then you'd hook them to a cart and have somebody with a third line for another week or longer, depending on how they acted. And it just seemed like it took so long for them to learn what they were supposed to be doing. They're so much smarter now and really so much more athletic. I think that's the big thing.
Right. We've seen multiple miles already today and going 2:07. It's quite remarkable because we're still a handful of weeks out from really their first purse start. Do you think that is the breeding now? We've seen the breeding in our sires change quite a bit over the years.
Oh, for sure. It's, the bloodlines anymore. You can't hardly find a bad bred horse, and especially in Ohio now, it's really getting to show that a lot more.
You're exactly right, especially in Ohio. But let's talk about your fairgrounds. I say it wasn't always easy for you to put on some of these programs, and you've been here for a long time. You've got to be proud of what it looks like now.
Well, for sure. I mean, we have a good working relationship with the fair board, and that helps a lot. We went through a stage where that wasn't the case, and it was not good. It was, the place really started running down, and things changed. Different people leading different organizations, and it got to be a lot better. And now with all the renovations to the barns and everything, it's we're pretty proud of what it is.
And you should be, by all means. If we have a horseman's organization that's just starting out, or people who want to work better with their fair boards, would you have any advice for them?
Well, you got to realize, I mean, one of the things I've always said, the fairs need us a lot more than we need them. I'm saying that backwards. We need them a lot more than they need us. There's so much entertainment that we have to compete with the motorized, the demo derbies and the tractor pulls and all that. So, used to was, we'd race 4 or 5 sessions of harness racing, and now we're down to 2. So it's a work together situation.
You're exactly right. Well, Bob, we appreciate all the many years and the dedication you've put in, especially here at Celina.
Racing is back at El Dorado Scioto Downs. Catch the excitement all summer long. Live racing every Tuesday through Saturday nights. First race post time is 5:45. Mark your calendar to see the future stars with a $150,000 Next Generation on July 5th. Thrilling harness racing at El Dorado Scioto Downs. Horse players can earn points with the Caesars Reward Program. El Dorado Scioto Downs. Live racing is back. The future is bright in Ohio. Ohio Sire Stakes, Buckeye Stallion Series, 66 county and independent fairs. Whether it's the Ohio Sire Stakes, the Buckeye Stallion Series, or the county fairs, Ohio has a place for your racehorse. This year, Ohio breds are racing for nearly $23 million in stakes purses. Be part of the winning. Breed, buy, race, win in Ohio.
We have a very full field of 6 horses going into our 10th race, which is going to be a 2:20 to 2:25 trot and pace here this afternoon. Our one horse is She's a Smoke Show. This is a 3-year-old filly by Lather Up out of Odds On Sarasota, owned by Kyle Ladd and Ryan Schaefer, and as well will be driven by Kyle Ladd. This horse did not race at all at 2 years old, but had a pretty nice dam. The mare has made 131 throughout her career and had a mark in 152 and 2. Our 2 horse is another Ohio bred, the Muffin Man by Catch the Fire out of Smiley Rocks. This is a 2-year-old gelding owned by Spurwood Farm, will be driven and trained by Chad Williamson. I do believe this was a buyback for $12,000 out of the Buckeye Classic sale, and 2 half siblings of this gelding have made over $140,000 in their career. Our 3 horse is by Long Tom. This is another 3-year-old gelding, LT Dynamite. Roy Slenderer owns, trains, and drives, I believe. Now this mare was Dynamite Diva, and 2 siblings of our 3 horse have made over $95,000. One in particular I actually have some history with. Boom Dynamite was trained by my mom. Actually, I think I jogged a lot of miles on this horse. He made $124,000 in his career with a mark in 156 and 1. And again, this horse did not race at all as a 2-year-old. Our 4 horse is Clear the Stage, and Indiana bred, will be driven by Ben Schwartz. Our 5 horse is Schwartz Bros Chip, another Indiana bred, will be driven by Irvin Schwartz. And rounding out the field, we do have a late add, in Ohio bred, Dancing Again, trained, owned, and I believe driven by Mandy Jones. This is a 2-year-old filly by Dancing Yankee out of Sam. The mare did make almost $100,000 in her career, and Dancing Again was a $5,000 purchase out of the Buckeye Classic.
3/4 in 147 and 4/5 as they race around that upper turn to head for pay dirt. That's She's a Smoke Show along the rail, but now on the outside, pouring on the pressure, is the Muffin Man. Racing third, Schwartz Bros Chip. Edging up on the outside, fourth comes Dancing Again. As they race for home, that's She's a Smoke Show at the rail. The Muffin Man on the outside. She's a Smoke Show and the Muffin Man. The Muffin Man and She's a Smoke Show. It's going to be the Muffin Man, and here they all come.
The Muffin Man takes race 10 in 2:18 and 2. The fractions went 35 and 2, 1:10 and 4. 3/4 went in 1:47 and 4. And it was all the Muffin Man. We did have She's a Smoke Show coming in second, made that late break right at the wire. In third was the Indiana bred Schwartz Bro Chip. And fourth, we had the Ohio bred Dancing Again. At 5th was LT Dynamite, and rounding out the field was the Indiana bred Clear the Stage. We are going to head into a commercial real quick, and we'll finish out our Matinee Madness here at Celina.
Since 1974, Winterwood Farm has been producing top-of-the-line standardbred racehorses. Captain Kirk, Mission Accepted, and Stockade Sealster continue that tradition. Captain Kirk is the son of Captain Treacherous and took a career mark of 147 and 4 as a 4-year-old. Mission Accepted, the 2-time Ohio Age Trotter of the Year, has career earnings of over $1.4 million. Stockade Sealster, the 2022 Dan Patch 2-year-old Pacing Colt of the Year, Winterwood Farm, breeding champions for over 50 years.
At Ohio State's Galbraith Equine Center, our veterinary champions are here for your champions 24/7, 365 days a year. Our expert team of boarded surgeons, sports medicine and rehabilitation specialists, together with veterinary cardiologists, internal medicine, and ophthalmologists, make our hospital your best resource for all sport horse performance issues. The Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center's Galbraith Equine Hospital. Call us today at 614-292-6661.
Welcome back. We are towards the back end of our Mercer County Matinee here in Celina. Race 11 just finished up. There were no Ohio breds. The only Ohio bred actually was scratched out, so just 3 horses went behind the gate. The winner went in 2:13 and 1. The time bar was 2:15 to 2:20, and it was a trot. The winner was Year of Fear. In second place, we had Skyway Awestruck, and finishing third was Bell Sky Ray. Race 12 will round us out here this afternoon. It is a 2:15 to 2:20 trot and pace. Looks like we have a field of 4 so far. Horse 1, we have Smith and Western. This is a 2-year-old colt by Western fame out of Sunshine Leela. Owned by Red Rock Racing, will be driven by Chad Williamson. This colt actually did sell under the name Western Sunset. It was a $10,000 purchase out of the Ohio Selected sale. Our 2-horse is an Indiana bred, will be driven by Doug Rideout. It is Belle Eugene. You guessed it, our 3-horse is an Indiana bred. Meadowbrook Ryan will be driven by Clint Coy, and rounding out the field is one more Indiana bred. It is Swan Big Splash, will be driven by Ben Schwartz.
3/4 and 144 and 4/5. As they race around the return to head for payday, Smith and Western regains the lead. On the outside second, his Swan Big Splash. Third and looking for racing room is Meadowbrook Ryan. As they race toward home, that's Smith and Western along the rail. Meadowbrook Ryan coming through on the outside. Smith and Western and Meadowbrook Ryan. Smith and Western at the rail. Meadowbrook Ryan on the outside. Smith and Western and Meadowbrook Ryan. The finish looked like Meadowbrook Ryan got up for the win.
Our Ohio bred Smith and Western just got nipped at the wire. The winner of race 12 was Meadowbrook Ryan. Time in 2:15 and 4. Again, our Ohio bred Smith and Western was second. Coming in third was Swan Big Splash, and rounding out the field was Belle Eugene. Fractions went 36 and 3, 112 and 1, 144 and 4, and again, final mile time in 2:15 and 4. That wraps us up for the 54th annual Mercer County Matinee Madness in Celina, Ohio. What an exciting day and start and fresh look into the 2025 season. We want to give a special thanks to everybody involved today. Don't forget to join us next week when we'll be bringing you 3 Matinee Madness from Crawford County and Bucyrus, Fayette County and Washington Courthouse, and Greenville, Darke County. See you then.
This has been Matinee Madness. Matinee Madness is presented by the Ohio State University Veterinary Medical Center, Eldorado Scioto Downs, and Winterwood Farm. Matinee Madness is a presentation of the Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association.